recipes have our ReBoot creators brought to the table today? Let's take a look at the ingredients. Fantastically built world where pretty much anything can happen. A mysterious user who sends game cubes every so often. Megabyte's continuing ambition to get into the supercomputer. And an important place called the archives. All of the ingredients seem to be in order. It's been cooked, and now it's been served to the table. Let's see how it tastes. And no, this episode has nothing to do with food. Sorry.
Well, then proceed with energy drain immediately.
Yes, sir!
How do we turn this thing
What
on?
are you asking me for?
Well, because...
I don't remember. I used to know.
Is this it?
You made me forget.
Push the button.
Push the button.
No, you push it.
You push it.
Every time I push it, something bad happens.
It doesn't matter who pushes it.
Okay, push it.
All right, I'll push it.
When Games Collide was written by Jono Howard, with story by Gavin Blair, Brendan McCarthy, Phil Mitchell, Ian Pearson, and Lane Richard. The main cast includes Michael Benier as Bob, Kathleen Barr as Dot, Matthew Sinclair as Enzo, Tony J as Megabyte, Phil Hayes as Hack, Gary Chalk as Slash, and Michael Donovan as Fawn. The episode begins in what is probably the weirdest game they show on this series. The setting appears to be Aztec ruins of some sort, and Bob, Dot, and Enzo and a few other binomes are metallic robots. Meanwhile, the user is some sort of floating drone with laser turrets on it. I don't know. Maybe there's a game reference here that I don't understand. But it's not really super important, because thanks to the big energy leech on the top of the GameCube, things start to get really slow. The once rapid fire of the drone's turrets turn into bullet time effects, as the mainframers find they can run circles around the user. Enzo literally beats the user by smacking one of its shots back at it with the butt of his gun, as if he was playing baseball. The game ends, and Enzo is over the moon that he won, but Bob and Dot are perplexed. Dot calls Fawn.
Principal office.
Fawn, it's Dot. Did you register anything strange in the last nanosecond?
As a matter of fact, I did pick up an energy drain just before the game ended.
Thanks, Fawn. I've got another call coming through.
Ma'am, sir, trouble here at the archives. I think you should see this.
I'll be right there.
Do you get the feeling this is all somehow connected?
This is unfortunately one of those tales where the audience knows exactly what's happening a long time before the characters do. I'm not a fan of that method of storytelling. Here, it's clear that Megabyte leached the power out of the GameCube, and thus he's behind the archives problem as well. Anyways, our trio zipboard off towards the principal office, and we are introduced to a small building that stands on the same grounds, but is more or less separate. The mainframe archives. This is, in computer terms, mainframe's hard drive, where every file is stored in memory. A few police binomes are standing around when the three arrive, and we see that the front gate is voice activated. It's never made entirely clear why Dot has access. I guess as one of only like 3 sprites in mainframe, she's higher on the mainframe hierarchy? Maybe it's a business thing and she maintains the facility? Not super important, but something to think about. Anyways, we see the archives are behind like 12 security gates, and after they open, the trio head inside, where they are met by a pair of binomes.
We don't know. It all happened during the game. We almost lost the security field.
What? Our security field power is second only to the mainframe core.
He's right, Dot. The security field suffered a huge blow. The compression waves are registering 0.8.
That's impossible. Nothing in mainframe can generate more power than the core.
Well, something did. We have to find out what. And more importantly, why.
We almost pulled it off, Gov. If we'd only had a little bit more juice, we'd have been through.
So now we are starting to put the whole picture together. Again, a little sooner than the characters will. Megabyte's band of Goonies have set up a huge power drill, being fed energy from this leech device to literally punch a hole through the archive's defenses. Game energy is the only thing powerful enough to do this. Megabyte orders Hack and Slash to be ready for the next game landing and to put the device on maximum drain. Meanwhile, with Dot staying in the archives to make sure everything is honky-dory, Bob decides to pay a visit to Megabyte, figuring that he must have something to do with this. Enzo is asked by Bob to stay and patrol around, which he performs with gusto, along with Frisket. Frisket immediately gets his nose to the ground and leads Enzo towards a manhole cover. In amongst that, back at the tour, Megabyte has his minions constructing a large metal gate ring, which looks ripped straight from Stargate. At this point, it's abundantly clear what Megabyte is aiming for, a portal to the supercomputer, just like always. At least he's consistent. Bob's journey to the tour is interrupted.
That's all we need. Basic combat. ReBoot!
No delays! Maximum drain!
I heard the boss.
Right away.
Okie dokie.
Hack and Slash do as they were told, and things go horribly wrong. Or horribly right, I suppose. The energy drain is so drastic, it not only slows down the game action like the first time, but it also completely shuts it down, causing it to crash. We get this information through an exchange between Fawn and Dot. And, to Fawn's utter horror, the user sends in another game, with absolutely crazy results.
The games! They've merged!
No way! Cool!
We're through! Let's go, come on, move out!
Okay, well, that's definitely not how games work, but this is a really cool and utterly unique idea. The basic combat warfare game has combined with a dinosaur adventure game with some really cool visuals, like Bob's sash with grenades turned into dinosaur eggs. Meanwhile, as we also saw, Enzo and Frisket have stumbled upon Megabyte's agents. They're able to punch through the wall, they fly in, because for some reason there was no one standing guard inside anymore, and to make matters worse, they corner the duo. They stun Frisket and take Enzo captive. We see the thing that they were after is some metallic object that resembles a floppy disk. Meanwhile, back in the game, as Bob adjusts to the strange environment, he spots Megabyte, the cube landed on the tour, cursing his lackeys for draining too much energy. So, I get why he's here, but if it dropped on or near the tour, where are his legions of minions? As Bob and Megabyte exchange words, a humongous dinosaur tank appears and chases them. It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. That one was free. You're welcome.
Oh, Bob. No hard feelings.
I say, Guardian Bob, what are you doing here?
I just dropped in.
This is Sir, the British pilot first introduced back in Identity Crisis Part 1. Lucky for Bob, he happened to be piloting the dinosaur plane. Meanwhile, Megabyte's evil is repaid because the Tyrannosaurus simply jumps across the chasm and attacks. Megabyte jumps out of the way, straight into a tar pit. The creature starts firing missiles at him, but the virus displays his unnatural strength by simply swatting them away. Nevertheless, he cannot free himself from the tar, and will soon be no more. Cue Bob, who, against better judgment, decides he can't let anyone die on his watch, even a virus like Megabyte.
Line!
Bob, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I've got some bad news. Megabyte stole an old gateway command. He used game energy to drill through the archive security perimeter.
Of course! Game energy is the only energy you...
Bob, Enzo and Frisket are missing.
The finale of the episode takes place in the tour. Megabyte gets his gate up and running, and the carrier transporting the stolen goods, and Enzo, returns, and his lackeys hand over a gateway command. That's what he wanted from the archives, a way to make a portal without having to go through Bob again. The command is inserted into a control slot, and it shimmers to life, again mimicking Stargate, which would have just come out in theaters in 1994. Megabyte explains to Enzo why he's here.
Sir, the portal appears to be highly unstable.
That is most unfortunate. All right, boy. Time for you to test out my portal for me. If it works, you'll be transported to the supercomputer. If it doesn't, you'll be deleted.
You won't get away with this! Wait till my sister finds out!
Yes, I know.
What's going on down there?
Glitch! View scope! There he is!
Enzo is forced through the portal, which gets Bob and Dot to spring into action. This should be a suicide mission, except, once again, Megabyte's innumerable legions seem to be missing. Instead, we have just a few stragglers, which Bob is easily able to outwit and toss around. Hack and Slash are ordered to stop Bob, and in one of the most stupefying scenes ever, they decide to grab the gate and lift it into the air. No explanation is given as to why they just suddenly do this. They manage to pull the gate apart and destroy it, but not before Bob zooms in, grabs Enzo, and zooms out. Hack and Slash manage to capture Dot, but Bob mentions that Megabyte owes them one, and, in a surprising show of honor, lets them escape. When Games Collide is a ping-pong match between amazing visuals, natural character interaction, and some amazing concepts on one side, and some really weird decisions and plot inconsistencies on the other. I enjoyed the tale thoroughly, and I think you will too, but I'm just left asking too many questions for this to be all it could be. It has nothing to do with the games. Both games, while odd, are really fun and very engaging. Arguably the strongest points in the narrative alongside the infinite space visual that they give to the archives, which is really cool. I like the idea of Megabyte stealing something from the archives, and its creative use of GameCube energy. But these were the sewers under the principal office, right? Why wasn't it being patrolled or monitored? Why isn't there a constant vigil inside the archives? And even if there isn't normally, they should be bumping security up right after a power surge, right? That aside, again, Bob and Dot were able to just storm the tour, even though we've seen Megabyte's military might and sheer army size in previous tales. Where are they? Oh well. Again, this tale is lots of fun, has perfect action-packed pacing, and throws some really cool and unique ideas our way. I just wish they had left this in the oven a bit longer. It was not quite cooked all the way through. I give this tale a 2 out of 3.